Delators, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. The black man is only thinking about education. We want to be educated, it's fine. But this system of education, we don't know that, has made us not to be blacks anymore. We have lost the value of our own self. Our identity has been taken away. We are programmed in a certain way to believe that everything of the white man is good. Their way of life is the norm. Because that is what the education teaches us. And that is why they came into the continent and told the African that we are primitive. Simple because we are not living the way they are living, the way they are doing their things, the way they speak, the way they write. So the moment you are not able to write the way the white man does, you are uneducated. And this is what we have bought into. Today, blacks even believe that we are educated thanks to these people because we have lost our way of education. We have forgotten that we all have means and ways of writing, of educating ourselves. Chinese do not write the way the white man does. The Arabians do not do. It's just the same way the African wasn't doing the same thing the white man was doing. According to our brothers, we need to re-educate ourselves to face reality, because everything that these people gave to us have turned things upside down for us, making us to buy into their belief of doing things. The most shocking thing is, today it is the black man who believes that their ancestors were primitive is the same person that is buying and offering him or herself free for colonialism. Yet we don't know, because we think that being colonized means we are civilized.
To say one thing on that, I think the question you asked is how do the schools accomplish this? I mean, you were concerned about the process. I think we got to understand that there's no such thing as objective truth, which is implicit in everything Dr. Clark says, that white people use the institutions to accomplish white purpose. The white purpose is to maintain a power position and keep everybody else in a subordinate, powerless kind of position. Now that's the institution's purpose, and that's the way it functions and how it functions. And we got to realize then that everything that the schools teach is designed to fit into that purpose. The schools teach not objective truth, but what the white man wants to project as truth. Now that's from the very kindergarten right straight on through.
For example, what?
Sociology. Sociology is not a science in the sense that it's dealing objectively with the way people live together. It's dealing with the white man's pattern of living together as the norm by which we judge how other people live. If you live like white people live, then you're living the way you are supposed to live. If not, you're either primitive or insane as a people. Psychologically, it's the same thing. Psychology does not deal with any objective kind of discussion or development of how people live or analysis of how people function as individuals, but how does the white man function? If the white man does it this way, then this is the norm by which we judge all other people. If the white man is violent, then actually all people have to be violent to be normal. If you're not violent, obviously there's something wrong with you and you should be in an insane asylum. The whole pattern that's set up as a norm for human behavior by psychologists, the whole library full of it. Psychiatrists, everybody that's dealing with it is dealing with it from a white point of view. So they teach white children, black children and white children, to look through white eyes. From the kindergarten on, the black child is beginning to look at the world and interpret it through white eyes. Everything he is wrong. Everything that exists in his community is wrong. And we ought to declare that white music really is no good, that white psychology is no good. The white man either acts like we do or he's insane. White sociology is no good. The very structure of white society indicates that white people, obviously in social structure, are either insane or they're abnormal. So we have to project then a black psychology, a black sociology, a black music, a black history that takes in the realities and that is essentially sound, as opposed to the mythology that the white man has developed out of his own ignorance, for one thing, out of his non-creativity, because the white man has never created anything. He's stolen things but never created anything. He cannot actually deal with history because history is a recital of his total failure and his total absence of making any genuine contribution.
If we define a black psychology, a black sociology, where will we use these?
Well, we'd use them first to unscramble our own mixed up minds. If we could understand that black psychology is the psychology that the black man has to have if he's going to escape from powerlessness in a white man's world. Now, the struggle is a struggle between black people for power and white people to keep power. Now, all we're dealing with is a power struggle. Every institution that the white man has, he uses in this power struggle. There's nothing wrong with that, nothing immoral about it. Any people would do that. When we get on top, we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to use every institution to perpetuate black power. And the white man's going to have to fight up from the bottom again for another, 100 million years trying to get back to a position of power. There's nothing wrong with fighting for power, but the thing that's wrong is for powerless people to accept their powerlessness and to accept the definition by which they are maintained powerless and to accept the institutions which perpetuate their powerlessness. So that's why I think the black church has to become a power base for black people in changing this total institutional conception structure that black people are living in. We've got to use it as a base to spin off all the institutions that black people need that come from a black perspective, a black orientation, and are concerned with black power as opposed to white power.
Let's go. All the things we have learned in school has nothing to do with us. It is rather teaching us a certain way to behave like the white man. So the moment you don't act and do things like them, you are not one of them. We need to understand that all that we have learned in school is not the truth. It's there to program us to behave like our oppressors. We need to understand the motive behind the things that they give to us. We are the only ones that are living and trying to be like our oppressors. Chinese are not like that. Indians are not like that. Everything of the African has been thrown away. Because we are being taught to see everything white. Everything black is wrong. Eating our own food today is wrong because when you look at the so-called people, especially with the women who claim we're educated, the things we are feeding ourselves with and our children, without knowing the damage we are causing to ourselves, is shocking. All in the name of I am educated. I have been indoctrinated. I am still offering myself out for slavery. So slavery is the best thing that I can ever get. And when we finish, we are the same people who sit down and throw insult at our forefathers who rose up and resisted oppression. Because today the black man don't know him or herself. Self-awareness, self-consciousness is not in the black person. So the black man who doesn't know who he or she is in this modern world is the one who think is civilized. We really need to start teaching ourselves the right thing. This is what we need to know and educate the generations that will come. To make them know that the African has his or her own values. We have our own concept of doing things. And being educated means you are being colonized. You are being indoctrinated. So you are ending up becoming somebody other than yourself. So today people are washing away everything black just to be like the oppressors, without knowing that this is a new form of slavery. Because they have branded slavery in a modern way that we are now running after it. They are no longer forcing the black person to be slaved. It is the black person who is forcing him or herself to be enslaved. And this is all that the African needs to know. Self-awareness. Their way of life isn't the standard. So today when we are bringing up our children, we tell them this way of doing things is archaic. Everything the African is archaic. Go to Europe, go to America. Are you for real? Do you hear Chinese saying that to their children? The Japanese, the Koreans? Why is it the African that is always seeing the oppressors to be the best? Why not them learning how we do our own things? And we have to throw everything of ours away just to be like them. Have we ever sat down to ask ourselves these questions? The time is now. You and I mustn't leave that slavery as an inheritance to our children to come, because you have a responsibility to hand over a better Africa to your children. So that's the latest around the world and in Africa.